Hello and welcome to day 2 of my 12 Days of Christmas series, where I'll be making an ornament shaker card using a die from Simon Says Stamp. So the die is really intricate. It's got some snowflakes around the edge and a Merry Christmas sentiment in the middle. I'm just taping that down to some glitter cardstock and running that through my Sizzix Big Shot machine to cut it out. Now it is quite a detailed die, so you might find that you need to use a shim and you might need a paper piercer just to poke through the holes in the back of the die, but it will cut out beautifully. Now if you don't have some glitter cardstock, you can make your own using embossing powder. I'm just using Versamark ink on top of some plain cardstock and sprinkling on some liquid platinum embossing powder and heating that up with my heat tool. So before you die cut this, you will want it to cool completely, so I'm just going to set that to one side. So for the background of my card, I'm going to be using some of this printed craft cardstock from Hobbycraft. This is actually some cardstock that I picked up last year and didn't get around to using, so I'm excited to use that on a card this year. So I'm taking one of those patterned pieces and I've cut that down to slightly smaller than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm now going to cut out a circle for the window. To do this, I'm using my X-Acto circle cutter, and I've just measured to find the centre of where I want that circle to be and measured across the ornament or the bauble section to find the diameter, and I set my X-Acto cutter to cut that diameter circle. So first of all, I used the lead that comes inside of this tool to draw the circle to make sure I was happy with the positioning, and then I exchanged the pencil lead out for the blade. Now I'm just using that card panel to cut the same circle in the exact same position out of some red foam. The reason that I'm using this red foam is to add some dimension to the card, and as my card base is going to be red, I wanted the foam to match. So once I've got that window cut out, I can use some acetate to cover up the window section on the panel, and this just makes sure that none of that shaker material falls out. So I'm covering all of the back of this piece with some glue and then sticking that foam on top. And I'm just pinning that in place while it dries. If you don't have craft foam, you could use some small sections of 3D foam tape and achieve the same effect. So now I've just die cut the ornament out of that embossed section that we created earlier, the embossed cardstock, and I'm cutting out some of the elements. At first I thought I was going to use the topper of the bauble and also the Merry Christmas, but then I decided that I wanted the Merry Christmas to be red to match the card base. I took a Sharpie pen and just coloured all of that in, and I then decided to add some Wink of Stella to some of that background craft paper. I added the Wink of Stella to the star, to the tree, to the candy cane, and also to some of the craft sections at the bottom of the card. Once I had all of that in place, I decided to put together a custom mix of sequins. I used some gold sequins and some silver stars, and also some Pretty Pink Posh clear iridescent sequins as well. So I tipped all of this mix into the window section of my card, and I just wanted to make sure that that was nice and full. As the die cut does have quite a lot of detail, you're not going to see through this window shaker as much as you usually would. So I applied some glue to that section and brought in my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch Simon Says Stamp Schoolhouse Red card base. And then I decided that I wanted the Merry Christmas on the bauble die to stand out just a little bit more, so I traced over that using some Stickles glitter glue. I think this is a really nice way to make the words on the die really pop. You could also have cut those out of some red cardstock and stuck those down. I'm just adding the top of the bauble or the ornament using that paper that we coloured using the liquid platinum embossing powder earlier. I'm applying some glue onto the back, and then I'm carefully going to pick this piece up and place it onto the die. Now you don't have to cut another die just to get this ornament topper to be gold. You could just use a gold marker to colour it in. So now all of that glitter glue has dried, I'm going to apply glue onto the back of this die cut and then stick that onto the front of the card. Now if I'd thought ahead, I could have applied some double-sided tape onto the back of the glitter paper before I die cut it, and that would have meant that this was already adhesive and I wouldn't have had to have included this step. But it doesn't take too long to apply the glue, and then I just place an acrylic block over the top while that dries to make sure it's held down in place. And there you have it, our shaker card is complete. I hope you enjoyed day 2 of the 12 Days of Christmas card series. Please do make sure you subscribe to the playlist and you join us again on day 3 on Sunday. If you're inspired by any of the projects shared in the 12 Days of Christmas series, please do let me know by using the hashtag CNS 12 Days of Christmas. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.